Hello everyone, Mark here. Welcome back to my garage. So, I have a project coming up that's going to involve a lot of work on my little mini milling machine over there. Now, that milling machine is a wonderful machine, as is the mini lathe. It's an Emco Unimat 3. However, it has one major drawback with its milling attachment. So today, in this video, I'm going to hopefully address that issue. Now, I know when I modified my main big mill, I had a lot of comments, people going "Ree!" in it because I decided to drill a hole in it. Well, it's my machine, I can do what I want with it. I do appreciate those kind of comments, and I do appreciate that a lot of people might struggle seeing machines modified. People that are collectors will struggle to see machines modified from their stock condition because those sort of people like preserving history of things. Me, on the other hand, as much as I love preserving things and restoring things, at the end of the day, it's a functional machine. And if I can make a modification on it that will make it better and make it more usable, especially in my machine shop, then in my opinion, it's worth it. So, with that little speech out of the way, I'll take you over to the mill and I'll take you through what the problem is that I'm hopefully going to rectify. This is my Emco Unimat 3. It's the one with the milling head, as I just explained. Now, like I said, it's a wonderful machine. However, this has, in my opinion, well, two major flaws. One of them I can't correct without buying another motor. But the other one, hopefully, I should be able to correct. The big problem with using this milling attachment is keeping it centred on a piece of work at the right position on the X and Y. Because, yes, you have a quill for adjustment in there for your Z travel. However, there's not that much travel in that. So to get this into position, you undo this bolt and swing this round. I don't know if any of you can now work out what the issue is here, but yes, you've got Z travel here, so there's that. That works just fine. The big issue I've got, let's say I put this down to do some milling work like this, and I have a certain length cutter, and I need, let's say I'm doing a spot drilling operation, and then a spot face, and then a drill. Now, the spot face, the end mill, is going to be shorter. So I put it to here, get it nice and centered where I want it, come down, do my little spot milling. I can use the fine feed on here as well. That's a little worm. It's not locked in at the moment, but as you do that, as you can see, it adjusts the height on a fine feed. Now, that's all well and good until I then come to put the drill in. Oh, I need to go through it. The drill's longer. Wait, how do I lift this up without losing my position on the hole? Because when I loosen this up, I just moved it there, as you can see, there's no location in this position on the shaft, on this pole, none at all. It just spins freely, and that is the issue. There's no way of getting any form of repeatability for the Z, for like the coarse Z height adjustment. There's just no way of doing it. So, my plan today, hopefully, is to rectify that issue. What I intend to do, let me take this off, just slides off the top. What I intend to do is in the back here, on this side, I want to drill a hole through there. Thread that hole, it's a cast iron, so it's fairly strong. Drill and tap a hole and put a dog point set screw through it. And then the next piece that I want to do is then on this column, take it off, it only bolts in at the bottom here, and then at a perfect 90 degrees to the bolt holes that hold it in place, I want to cut a slot up it that's the same width as the dog point on the dog point set screw, which will, maybe with a few thou clearance either side so it doesn't bind, so that I have a repeatable up and down. Now you're thinking to yourself, oh, but then you need to swing it out of the way. Well, that's why I'm going to use a set screw and not just a key in the shaft. Because then, what I can do, if I want to move it out of the way, and I'm done, I just back out the set screw, so it's no longer interfering into the slot, and it'll swing back round out the way again. So that is my plan. In the future, I'm actually thinking of also maybe making an adapter for this to bolt to it with an actual screw, like an Acme lead screw, or even just another, see if I can buy a second-hand feed screw that come for this, because you can get these on eBay, the actual screw itself. If I can buy another one of those, seeing as I know exactly what tap size and things this is, I can then make another lead screw thing here with a handle at the top here to be able to move it up and down, actually set amounts as well. So let's first of all, I need to get some room to work on here, so I'm going to start off, I'm just basically going to strip this down so it's basically just the saddle and cross slide and the headstock left on it, so that I've got more room to work around the machine. So next bit will be a bit of sped up footage probably of me dismantling this. Right, that's stripped it naked, as it were. You can take it apart a lot further than this. You can take it down to its base castings, which I actually did fairly recently to give it just a good overall clean up, and to repair it, because naughty boy time, I accidentally crashed the machine and bent the lead screw. Well, not the lead screw itself, but I bent the power feed drive dog at the end. It's a 2-spline shaft that does that, and I twisted the end like that, so the two blades were twisted, so I just had to straighten out those slots so they would work together again. Yeah, there we go, get that out of your system. Giggity, giggity. Yeah, the things that are left on here now are stuff that doesn't need to come off this, unless you were doing maintenance work on the actual lathe bed itself, or the ways, or the spindle, for instance. Although the bearings in this spindle are rock solid, there's no play in them at all. I've actually had a indicator on here. It was a half thou resolution indicator measuring end play, and there was 0, so that's always nice. So the next step to do is down the back here. You can't see it, I can't get the camera around because of the way my workshop's laid out. I've got no way of putting a camera back here, but down here there are 2 set screws. Not set screws, sorry, cap head bolts, and I do believe they're the same bolt size as the lock screw here. So next thing I need to do is whip those out and get the column off. So let me grab the Allen key. In fact, what I'll do, I'll grab the Allen keys that I got from my mate for Christmas, because there's some nice Bondhouse ones, so I'd like to make the most of them now I've got them. Here we go, Bondhouse ones. Genuine ones. Thank you once again, Ben, for these. 5mm should be the right size. Let's see if it's this one. It does, yay! So in theory, if I look down the back here, yay, it fits. Let's start by slackening these off, if I can get in there. They are tight. I did those up a bit tight, methinks, when I reinstalled the column. Note to self, don't tighten them as tight next time. You're not trying to use the clamping force to squash an atom. Atomic cold welding is not required at this size. As neat as it would be, and the fame I would then get from being able to achieve cold fusion would be nice, but it is just not necessary at this point. Let's move those bits of bar stock out of the way. Don't want to knock them flying. Oh, that one's tight. The bottom one is very tight. There we go. That should be loose enough now for me to be able to get in here. And there we go. Beauty of these Bondhoose ones that I got, or rather had to ask my mate for, is that they're the ball drive ones. So I can... there we go. Some decent length ones that go right through. They go decent depth, don't they? They go near enough right through the casting of the bed, which is nice to see. Sorry, my hand's in the way there, guys. Apologies for that. I'm a professional, honest. And there we go. That has liberated the column. Wonderful. And there's a way that I can tell, obviously, that which way round it goes, so I make sure I actually cut the slot in the right side, is that this has counter bores for the head of the cap screws to go through. Whereas the other side is flat. Well, there's got a deburring head on there, a chamfer cut, but Mr. Chamfer Man, as my mother always likes to say, good old American saying of the word chamfer. Brutally honest, I don't care how you pronounce the word. However you were taught to say a word is however you say the word for the rest of your life. That's how I feel. Unless you're talking about aluminium, of course, in which case Americans are wrong. Don't crucify me. Right, now that is out of the way, let's, don't run away. What I need to do now is work out what size slot I want to cut in this, and make sure I've actually got a cutter that can do that. So next step is to just look through what grub screws I've got, or screws I've got, and see what I can find. So I'll work that out and then bring you back with my results. Okay, so I've got it now set up here on the mill. I've yet to obviously put the overarm support and the actual milling cutter in yet. Still got to decide on what thickness of cutter I'm going to use. Probably something like 1/4 inch cutter would be the best for this. But yeah, so I've got this all fastened in, and I'm making use of the T-slot in the table itself to act as the alignment this way on, to make sure that the key follows this axis perfectly. Just a nice way of working with bar stock. I've lined up, I used the bolt through here to get it perfectly 90 degrees from the angle that I need it to be, so I know that the slot's going to be on this side because the milling head will come out this side when it's vertical. So the milling head will come out this side with the set screw that I'm going to use as the key on the channel needs to be on this side. Now, still need to do some final workings out as to how long I want this slot to be. Probably, you know, from there, sort of that kind of length there, ideally. Maybe a bit shorter at the top end. I'm not sure yet. It all depends. I'm thinking possibly maybe 1/4 inch wide key, maybe slightly narrower. I don't know yet. I need to have a look through what set screws I've got and what cutters I've got to be able to do it, because obviously it's a horizontal mill and I've got to make sure I've got a cutter that wide. I have got a slitting saw that's a fairly thick slitting saw that I could maybe use to do that. But as you can see, what I've done is made use of this angle plate here to act as a stop to make sure that it's all pulled tightly together and then perfectly in line, so it can't move, it can't jump and knock it one way or the other. It shouldn't be able to anyway. I mean, this in theory shouldn't be necessary, but I'd rather have it there, belt and braces, just to make it as safe as possible. Bit of extra safety, and clamping never hurt anyone. These strap clamps are actually the ones for the mini mill itself. I'm making use of them with some washers on here to clamp this down, because I don't have a strap clamp set. It's just dawned on me that's the one thing I don't have, is an actual strap clamp set. So I think that's going to be next on the purchase list. I need an actual set of clamps. Be quite useful, that. Well, I mean, until now I've been able to make use entirely of the vise on here, so it never occurred to me that I would need one. So yeah. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there tonight. I'll come back tomorrow. It's quite late now where I am. Not to mention, it's with it being middle of January in the UK, it's rather chilly in here, quite cold. I think the temperature outside today actually is about 2 or 3 degrees Celsius, so that's very cold. So I'm gonna go to bed for tonight now, sleep on it, make sure then that I can have a proper think of how I want to do this, make sure I'm not forgetting anything and I'm not doing this in a tired state. Because even though, yes, I could make another one of these or even buy another column, I'd rather not have to. So if I can get it right first time round, rather than screwing it up and buggering it up and then having to redo it again, always a bonus. So that is the plan here. That's about as far as I can come travel that way. I can't go any further. So it'll start then from the cutter there. So that tells me where it's going to start from, so the groove will start there. Then I can just power along as far as I need to over here, as far as I can reach with the cutter, which will be probably about here somewhere, before I hit the strap clamp. So yeah, that's my plan. So I'll bring you back tomorrow. Okay, the next step is to find the exact dimension of this so that I know what whereabouts the centre line needs to be on this. So for that I'm going to use my nice Starrett 25 to 50, because I already know it's more than 25, so it's a nice one that. I likes this one a lot, I do. So let's see if I can find out the exact dimension of this, shall we? That is 25, 26, 27 point... Can you read that, guys? .4, let's say 47. 27.47. So 27.47 divided by 2. Okay, there we go. I don't know if you can see it, but I have actually been able to scribe the line in there. That is dead centre. I'm going to be able to use this, wind the table across, and use this then to make sure I get the cutter dead on centre. I'm just going to have to do it by eye because I don't have a DRO or any form of edge finding on this, so it's just going to be as easy just to do it that way. So that is how I will do it. So next step is to assemble the arbor, go along here, and I'll show you as I'm just getting it into position. Okie dokie. So that is now all lined up, ready to go. I have checked my clamps, they are nice and tight, the bar is rigidly in place, it's lined up on centre. The that way travel, I can't remember which one it is, either X or Y, I don't know which one, whichever one it is, that is, that's locked. I have zeroed out my height. The next thing I need to do is just make a cut, and then I'll start her up, slowly bring the knee up until it starts making a cut, and then take it, I don't know, maybe I'm going to do it very, very gently, probably no more than 10th hour pass, and then proceed to cut all the way along. I'm going to use some cutting oil on this because it is steel, so I want to make sure I've got some cutting fluid on it, so let's go and grab that. Oops, sorry guys, I caught the camera there, didn't mean to, my apologies. It's got some cutting fluid on there. I'm just going to spread that out by hand a bit because, well, I don't really have any brushes for doing that with. So, hopefully this should work. I'm just going to grab my ear defenders. Because I'm expecting this to be loud. Let's give it a shot. Okay, so it is cutting. Do that for cut for now. Lock the table. Let's take a pass. There we go. That was a lovely first cut. Let's get back to the start. There we go. It's back at the start. That looks lovely. Let me grab a brush. A lovely first pass, that. Nice, clean, straight cut. So, basically, I want to take it down. Essentially, the depth of the teeth is the depth of the cut I want. Either that or approximately 5mm. I'll see how the cutter and the machine holds up for doing that. But okay, I won't make you sit and watch that. I'll get on with it, get it done, and I'll bring you back once I've cut it. And there we go, as if by magic, one keyway cut. I'm actually really impressed with how this mill handled that, because well, as you've seen in previous videos of mine, it has a chatter problem, which I've still yet to find out what the issue is. However, this cut this keyway perfectly. It's a mirror finish in the bottom of that. You can't really see it on camera, but it's a mirror finish on the bottom of that, and I am really happy. I cut it to 3.5mm deep, or, well, near enough 3.5mm, and it's a beautiful keyway. It looks like, to me, it looks perfectly on centre, which is always a bonus when something actually does what you expect it to do. So that I am really happy about, really impressed with that. Well done, little mill, thank you for doing that. Oh, if you can hear rain noise and wind noise, I apologise. We're currently we're getting the tail end of Storm Christoph here currently, and well, it's lovely weather outside. It's blowing early. Golden Bennett. Anyway, next step now then is to get this thing off here and get it deburred. I've got a Noga deburr tool for doing that, so I will clean out that, get it cleaned off of any chips, and then I'll also clean the machine down while I remember and while I've got the motivation to do it. I won't film that because well, there are things, believe it or not, that are more boring to watch than paint dry, and that is one of them. So I won't make you sit through that, so I'll bring you back once it's reunited with the milling head itself. Okay, machine's all cleaned up, put away, and I've deburred the key. I don't know about you, but I think that looks a very nice key. Oh, I mean, knock that down a bit so it's not glaring. There you go. Not a bad little key, that, really, is it? I'm quite very pleased with how that turned out. And as far as I can tell, it appears to be on centre. So I didn't screw up that, which is quite nice. That's quite wonderful, that. And it also, from what I can tell, is 90 degrees from the bores that hold it. It is a 90 degrees on the correct side. So, as the old adage goes, measure 3 times, think about making the cut, measure another 3 times, then do the cut. But I'm really happy with the surface finish in the bottom of that. That's actually a really quite nice surface finish. It's maybe a slight remnants of a chatter pattern in there, but it's not enough to worry about. So, this is going to be the end of this part. So this is going to be part 1 of modifying this. Part 2 is going to be the modification of the head itself. Put in a homemade screw in here. I've decided I'm going to use this because then it's the same size Allen key then as all the others on the machine. I don't have any set screws that are this Allen key size, so this is a spare one that's just happened to be in the tray. It's not used for anything, so I'm going to make use of that. And then what I'll do is I'll just turn this in the lathe to take the threads off about just, let's say, call it 3 mils worth of threads out. No, sorry, 4 mil of thread off it, so that and then turn it down to the same width as the key slot back here. So then it'll act exactly as I want it to. So, well, truly wonderful. Also in the next video I might very well have a go at taking the spindle apart, because it could probably do with a clean, sort out the bearings in it a bit. Well, the bearings are fine, I mean there's nothing wrong with it at all. But I'd like to be able to have a look in it and just make sure that there's no issues, no glaring bits of wear in it or anything like that. I'll have a see. No promises, guys. No promises as to whether I can take it apart or not, but I'll certainly give it a go. So, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this first part. Part 2 should be following shortly. I want to get this new video up for you guys, not to mention this video is probably going to be fairly long as it is already. Don't want to make it another one of my famous nearly hour specials, just for doing a quick update on this mill. So, stay tuned for part 2 in, I don't know how long it'll be, but it won't be long, I promise, it won't be long. Yeah. As always, once again, thanks for watching. Stay safe, everyone. Stay safe, everyone. If I can keep my teeth in. I'll see you next time. Cheerio.